Good morning and welcome to Peace Out. Make sure I switch the sound over to the mic. I need to get a fancy mic, don't I? So I can do a podcast. I'm thinking about doing a podcast. I think that would be fun, but I don't need something else to do. Anyway, I hope you're having a good morning. That's how my mind's working this morning. My mind's already working through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. Seriously. That's just welcome to my world, right? Anyway, I do hope you're having a good morning. Happy Friday to everybody. And I hope you've had a good week. Your work week, if you work Monday through Friday, is almost over. You get to enjoy uh, the weekend. And of course, it's football season, so that makes that even more special, right? For those who really like football, especially college football. It's an exciting year for those who are into that, right? Anyway, you never know what's going to happen, but that's the same in every day. Life is just as strategic and exciting too, because we never know what a day's going to bring, right? Never know how good it's going to be, how bad it's going to be, how in between it's going to be. The whole point is in the middle of all of it, we learn to trust Him and peace out. And that's what this devotional is all about, learning how to peace out. So I'm going to get to peace out in a minute. But when I was actually reading in the Gospels. I was reading what Jesus had to say about forgiveness because that's what I'm going to be teaching on tomorrow. And when I go to Pakistan, right? This is the final of this series that I've been doing for the New Life Institute over in Pakistan and Karachi, I think. And so I was studying on forgiveness. And I was reading through the Gospels. So I wanted to know what did Jesus say. The topic is going to be forgiving like Jesus forgave. So I was studying how did Jesus forgive. So that's what I was looking at, and I found myself in John 20 because Jesus said peace out, not in the King James, of course, but something before that got my attention. I'll skip it. I think I'll just skip it. No, I can't help it. Jesus just rose from the dead, right? And so it's Sunday, and he just rose from the dead, and Mary comes to the garden, and Mary Magdalene comes, and she thinks, she's weeping and she's crying, and his body's gone, and she's like, he asks her, why are you crying? Who are you looking for? And she didn't recognize his voice, which is interesting because when you really know someone, you recognize their voice, right? And so then she thought he was just the gardener, and she said, "Well, if you've carried him away, or if you've laid him somewhere else, just tell me. I'll take care of the body. I will anoint his body. I just need to find where you laid him." And then he said, "Mary." And when he said her name, she said, "Teacher, Jesus, you're him." She knew him immediately. And I was what it made me think about is my mom, because my mom had different ways to say my name. And if she called, I said, "Hello, mom," or whatever. I'd say hello, and it was the way she said my name told me the nature of the call. That's how it was, because there was just this little different way she said it when daddy was in the hospital, or something had happened she had to tell me about, or somebody had passed, or something was going on. The other times she just said it a different way. It's the way she said it that I would go, "What's up?" Right? It got my attention. And when Jesus called her name, she knew exactly who he was, because he evidently had called her name before, right? He had healed her. He had taken her from a crazy life and given her life and peace. And then when he called her name, she knew exactly who he was. Well, then she runs to the disciples, right? And she says, "Guess what? I saw Jesus. He's alive. He's risen from the dead." Then that same evening, the disciples were all hidden in a room because they were scared. And rightly so, because their dream had just been crushed, basically. They thought Jesus was going to set up a physical kingdom and take the nation and wipe out the kings and rulers of the day and take over, and they were all going to be leaders in his new kingdom. Well, they were, but they had it down. They couldn't get it past the natural. In the spiritual realm, that's exactly what happened, right? But they couldn't see that. All they could see was the natural right in front of them. And so when it didn't happen like they thought it was going to, they were devastated. Oh my goodness, how many times have you been that way? Maybe God didn't answer like you wanted, or maybe he didn't answer, you didn't feel like he answered at all, or maybe he said no, or maybe I deal with that someone, he doesn't heal Chris. Why? I don't know. And so that you can see in the natural, and it can really just sap your strength. It it chips away at your faith. It can make you frustrated. It can cause grief even more. It's a crazy thing to have to deal with your emotions when you don't get what you thought. You don't see what you thought or the way you thought it was going to happen, right? And so, but they were also scared because they're thinking, I'm assuming, if they kill Jesus, our leader, they're coming after us next because we believe in him, right? So their fears were very founded, right? And they weren't irrational in any way, excuse me, but their fears were founded. And so they were hidden in a room, in the back of a room somewhere, and the doors were shut, and they were all assembled because they were afraid everybody's going to come. And it says Jesus came and stood in their midst. He didn't come in the door. He didn't come in the window. He was just like a sci-fi movie. Poof, there he was. And what did he say first? He tells his disciples this: peace be with you. The first thing he tells his disciples is, peace out. I'm the Prince of Peace. You can have peace even in the middle. Jesus wasn't ignorant of what was going on. He knew exactly that their fears were founded. He knew why they were hiding. And yet the first thing he said to them was, peace, man. Peace out. And why? Because he's the Prince of Peace. He brought peace to them. He was peace. So when peace showed up, he had to reinforce that and tell them, peace out. It's okay, right? And so then he said, look, here's my hands, here's my feet. And they saw him and they were like, woo, it's Jesus, yay. And then he said to them again, peace to you. He had to tell them twice. Now, these were his disciples, those who walked with him, who saw him heal, who saw him make deaf ears be able to hear, to make blind eyes see. He raised up crippled people. He cast out demons. And yet he had to tell these people who saw the miracles twice in 3 verses here, peace out. Peace be with you. You've got my peace. He had to tell them that twice. And remember now back in John 14, just 6 chapters earlier, he said, I'm leaving my peace here. So they had it. They just didn't know how to apply it. How many times do we get those in those spots in our lives where we know we have his peace, but he's still got to tell us again to just peace out. So they've got the Prince of Peace who said, I'm leaving my peace here. Now he's come to them after a very grievous time, a very trying time for them, right? It wasn't easy to watch him be killed and crucified. It was gruesome. If you've ever watched The Passion, I understand. I've never watched it, but I understand they did a really good job of giving you a visual of what that really looked like. They saw that. They heard that in real life. And now they're hidden because they're afraid, they're grieving, they've got all these emotions going on. And Jesus, the first thing he says to them, and the second thing he says to them, is peace to you. Peace out. Isn't that amazing that that's what he chose to say? He could have said, I'm here now, y'all can relax, but no, he said, the Prince of Peace said, peace. Twice, within just a little bit. And then he left. But here's the thing, is it says 8 days later, they were still hiding there. 8 days later, and Thomas was with them this time. Thomas wasn't there. Where was he the other time? Who knows? But Thomas had said, I'm not going to believe unless I see those nails. I want to see the nails. That's how I'll know that they really I want to see the scars, because I know then I'll know that's where they put the nails in his hands and his feet. And then I'll know. And so 8 days later, they were all hidden there again. We're talking a whole week in hiding, basically. And Thomas was with them. The doors are shut. And Jesus pops in. Beam me up, Scotty, right? He just pops in the midst, it says, and what does he say again? Peace out. It's got to be important. What this lets me know, though, is this. He got their emotions. He understood their fears. He did not say, why are you afraid? You dumb little twits? No. He didn't say, why are you grieving? Don't you get it? There was no frustration on his part. He didn't condemn them for being afraid. He didn't condemn them for their emotions. He didn't condemn them for their grief. All he did was offer them peace. And he doesn't condemn us either. He gets why we're hiding, right? He gets why we're running. He gets why we don't come to him. He gets all of that. When it's based in fear, whether it's based in doubt, it doesn't matter. Even Thomas, he's nicknamed Doubting Thomas because I'm not going to believe unless I see. But listen to this next verse because we're here. I found us in John 20. It says, Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. What a blessing, right? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed. Surprise, that's you and me. We believe this story. We believe he left us peace. We believe he was crucified. We believe that after the cross, he said again, peace. And he didn't condemn them for fears, for doubts, for any crazy thoughts that were going through their heads at the time. He just said, hey, peace is still here. You still got peace. It doesn't matter what's going on. You still got peace. I didn't take it back, right? And then our blessing is this. We believe all of these things he said. We believe this whole thing, right? And yet we didn't walk with Jesus. We didn't see him be crucified, but we know he rose again by faith, right? We didn't see him heal the blind, but we know he can. We know he did, right? We didn't see him. We didn't see all these things, and yet we believe, and it says we're blessed. So he gave us a special blessing after saying peace out 3 times in one little passage here, right? He's the Prince of Peace, y'all. And if he can give peace into them in this situation, in these circumstances, these very difficult times where they feared for their lives and doubted that he had even risen as Thomas did, and then he still blessed them. He said, Thomas, you believe me. That's wonderful. But those who believe and didn't see, they're blessed. That's us. And what are we blessed with? Well, one thing is peace, grace, love, mercy. The same thing. God's still the same, right? So if Jesus can appear to these disciples that were in a very tight spot emotionally, physically, many different ways, and give them peace, he can give us peace in our circumstances today. So we can trust him because we don't see, but we believe, and we're blessed. And one thing we're blessed with is peace. So peace out. He's got you, and he's right there. Even if you close the doors and close the windows, he's still right there, right? Peace out. Have a great day, and I will see you in the morning.